Hello again, how-to friends. In this video, I'm going to start the first episode of the COVID-19 series, where I'm going to show you how you can multiply your herbs from cuttings, even if you don't grow herbs. When you're sitting in this unknown period, you might have been confused. What should I do next? And I believe our connection to the nature, our connection to the plants, helps us to stay grounded, helps us to stay confident in whatever conditions we are going to live through. Our plants helped our ancestors to survive, and we have to get connected back to the nature through the plants that we grow, to the plants that bring the food back to our table. And I cannot find a better example of the plant to really bring this abundance of the nature close to our hearts than the herbs. I visited the local supermarket and I bought the cuttings that already available. French tarragon, rosemary. You might already feel how does it smell. Right through this plastic film. And my last year favorite, cinnamon basil. Again, in these uncertain times, I hope the heavenly fragrances of the herbs will help you to get through these difficult times into the summer times, when of course the sunlight will be shining all the way through, and I hope this situation will resolve together with growing in abundance herbs. So let's jump to making some new plantings from these cuttings. Besides of the cuttings that you might buy from the store, you need water can with water, of course, scissors, and some containers to keep the cuttings in the water. I could do the same cuttings and plant them directly into the peat moss or potting soil mix in a soil indoors, but I prefer to do it in the water because of the time right now. It's still cool weather outside. I would like to use this time for the cuttings to establish the roots in the water, so that when the good times come after the last danger of the frost passes, we could comfortably plant the cuttings with the roots, even like directly into the ground. Shall we do this experiment? Of course, the safer approach is to plant the cuttings with roots into the pots with soil, and then wait while they have been established in the pots and produce the new greenery in the pots, and only then replant into the soil. So we can do the safer approach. We can plant cuttings from the water into the pots, but let's start from the first step. We open these packs here. I started from the cinnamon basil. From the bunch of all of the cuttings, I select the most mature ones that have the strongest stems, like these three, for example. They look not too bad. I strip out the leaves starting from the bottom. All of these. All of them. I strip out the big ones here, especially the big ones. All the big leaves go out for the cooking. Oh, by the way, do you know what you can cook from the cinnamon basil? Give me some hints in the comments below. And what's also very necessary is to remove any blooms from the top, because the blooms are the best suckers that take the energy from the plant. So I'm not afraid to cut all of this top out together with the bloom. This tiny bloom here, okay? So I discard that one too. Over here I have only this cutting remaining. I mean this knot remaining here. For this particular cut, the rule of thumb is to cut right above the knot, like second or third knot from the top. When I cut here, this piece will not enough to produce enough energy, to generate enough energy to produce the roots. So I do the cutting right here above the next knot. So I cut it like this, and I insert it into the water here. Okay. You add as much water to cut the bottom, or if you have the bottom knot very low, don't afraid to cut the bottom knot in the water too. But I will show you this another example where the bottom cut could be low. For example, I'll take this cut and remove all of the leaves from this knot, which is third from the top, one, first, second, and the third, and I cut above the knot. Or I can do here and then leave the bottom knot in the water, so that there will be roots coming from this knot. Actually doing this, I kind of give more opportunities, more places to grow the roots, because now I will have 1, 2, 3 cuttings standing in the water, so that the water reacts with each of these cut and starts to help producing the roots. I'm done with the cuttings of the cinnamon basil, and here is how many I was able to make from that bunch of the cinnamon basil. Give them about 10 days to have the roots appear. As soon as the roots appear, that's most difficult time for the cuttings. As soon as they appear, they will start grow much faster, assuming we change the water. Not necessarily daily, but like every 2 or 3 days. Make sure that water does not get molded from possible touches with the leaves. And in a few weeks, we will see the stronger roots to be transplanted into the individual pots. Now I will do the same with the rosemary. We apply pretty much the same principle to the rosemary too. See how many of them I got from this bunch. Of course, this small one can be discarded immediately, maybe including this one too. But I have more mature ones that we can definitely play with, as long as these ones. There is enough energy inside to produce the good roots from the cuttings. I'll take this one and discard all of the bottom leaves. Of course, it's more, I have to do it more careful with the scissors, but I'm just, I don't care much about particular pieces of the rosemary. For me, the more important is to show you how to make the cuttings to be more productive. Again, when we count from the top, we still have to work with the soft part of a rosemary stem before it gets into the woody area. So maybe here, like in the transition between soft and hard, I will cut it right in the middle here, above this node. I cut it like this, and that would be, I believe, good candidate. I will remove these leaves from the bottom, as well as these ones, to avoid any reaction with the water, and place it in the water here. So now we have two nodes submerged in the water. And I continue the same with the rest of the cuttings here. Why do I do so many cuttings? Remember, when we are in these uncertain times, we have to plant in abundance. We have to make as much protection for ourselves as possible. It doesn't matter that we have overproduced the number of herb plants. We can overplant our properties with herbs. We can give them out to our neighbors. We can sell them for the profit. Why not? If you have any doubts, what should I do with as many rosemary sprigs as much as here? Don't doubt yourself. Of course, you can use half of it to cook your meals with rosemary and make a nice pork chops with rosemary. Very delicious food, I don't mind, but let's do the cuttings. Let's first think, how can we make our own insurance in the food that we grow outside, in our backyards. Okay, I continue cutting this sprig of rosemary. From the bottom, remove the leaves here, and leave 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes from the top. Count, say 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. Keep in mind that the most of the energy is still kept on the upper part of the stem, because the plant starts to fade from the bottom or from the leaves, but the tips of the leaves, the internal part of the stem is still quite alive. They remove this already kind of faded part of the cutting and leave it like this to give a new life for the new, beautiful, flavorful and delicious rosemary. I never propagated tarragon from cuttings, but the principle remains the same. I just cut all of the side branches from the bottom up, and then we count the knots from the top and see where should we help the stem to produce the roots. And because the top was binded into the bunch, it's very weak, but I will risk into making the root from this cutting anyway. To help it a little bit, I will cut the top the same way I was cutting the blooms on basil. I cut the top here, and I will make the final cut on this distance. I insert into the water. I repeat the same on one more stem of the tarragon. Okay, I'll take this one and again clean up the stem from the leaves and leave some on the top, just a little bit. Remove the leaves but leave these small branches on the top and cut a little bit deeper, cut right here. I will make several more cuttings and I hope they will produce several plants of tarragon for me. We always plant more seeds than we predict to be survived and planted into the beds. We propagate more herbs than needed so that the good portion of them will survive and grow into the beautiful plants. We always prepare plants in abundance to create the good insurance for ourselves that we will certainly make the herbs available for us to plant, to share, and to donate. It's a very nice feeling to create more than we could probably use. I believe we gardeners always open to share not only plants but experience too. So that's why I'm coming up with this idea of helping you guys in these uncertain COVID-19 times and working on this COVID-19 survival series. So if you're thinking about any ideas, how can I help you out? Let me know. I'm always looking forward to hear from you. Thank you for watching and subscribe to Garden How To and leave your comments. I'm always available to answer your questions and help you guys in your practice of growing your own food.